Happy Sunday, everyone. I am very grateful that you could be here with me today. We're going to have some fun today. We are going to make Eggs Benedict. Eggs Benedict is on the menu for today, and it is going to be absolutely delicious. You don't want to miss this, so stay with us, and you're going to be terribly jealous when we get to the end. Now, I had said that I was going to make egg drop soup today, so I hope you're not disappointed because I changed your mind. Changed my mind. I changed our mind. So we're doing something a little bit different than egg drop soup, but it's going to be wonderful and you're going to be glad that you stuck around for it. So let's get started and make sure that I can see all of you. Now this is going to be a little bit different because when you think about Eggs Benedict, and I hope all of you have had Eggs Benedict, when you think about Eggs Benedict, it's a beautiful English muffin right on the bottom, and then you have a slice of ham or back bacon, and then a beautiful poached egg, soft in my world, and then Hollandaise sauce. Well, I'm here to tell you that Hollandaise sauce, if you make it at home, it is 100% keto. We're going to do an alternative to an English muffin, which is also 100% keto, and we're going to have a poached egg on top as well. So let's get busy and let's do this. And let me grab my bowl to mix things in. Okay, so this is going to have a few steps, so we may go a little bit over today, but you know what? I love hanging out with you guys, so if we're a little bit over, I'm okay with that. Okay, so first thing we are going to do is make sure that you guys can see me. Okay, there we go. Now you can see what I'm doing. Now here is a bowl that I'm going to, now you remember the packages of cauliflower. Now this is 240 grams of cauliflower. If you have leftover cauliflower, you've cooked some for a meal and you have some left over, don't toss it, please, 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 because you can keep it and use it to make a wonderful alternative for an English muffin. So we're going to put 240 grams of cauliflower in here. Don't want to waste that because it is really yummy. I am, you know, a lot of products like this that are basically processed food I am not a fan of, but this is something that you can have in your cupboard. You can keep it in your cupboard, and when you need it, it's there. You don't need to worry about it going bad, well, not for a long time anyway, and you don't need to worry about freezer burns so much. Now we're going to set this aside because next on our list of things to do is 56 grams of mushrooms. Now these are cremini mushrooms, and they're one of my favorite types of mushrooms, so we are going to chop those up. If I can find a knife here. And we want these pretty finely minced. Okay. And I'm going to make a mess because they like to jump around. Don't cut the stems off. You can have the stems mixed in here every bit as easily as any other part of the mushroom. If you do not like mushrooms, good morning, Mom. If you don't like mushrooms, you can leave this out and you can add an extra 56 grams of cauliflower. I happen to love mushrooms, so I'm putting them in here. Now these are raw mushrooms. They're not steamed, they're not fried, there's nothing done to them. They're just beautiful raw cremini mushrooms, and I usually have a package or two of them in my fridge because I really do love mushrooms a lot, and they're so versatile if you like them. And you know, I used to think, my husband does not like mushrooms, and I used to think that it was just the idea because he said, I know where they grow, which is not true. They grow in peat moss now. At any rate, I decided to try and hide the mushrooms. Well, I am here to tell you, he really, really does not like mushrooms. It is not the flavor, it's not the texture or the thought or anything else. He can pick the taste of mushrooms. Oh my goodness, he has a very sensitive palate. Okay, so we want these chopped up fine, and not because we're trying to hide them, but we're going to be making like a pancake. And we're going to fry that pancake. And I want the mushrooms to cook with the cauliflower. Now the cauliflower is already pretty much cooked because it's been packaged. Okay, so we want this diced nice and small. Now if you wanted to add a little bit of an onion, you could. Now keep in mind, you can use this as a pancake. If you want to make a low carb keto pancake that has a more umami flavor than sweet flavor, then you can absolutely do this. So 56 grams of mushrooms, all chopped up and in the bowl. And I now have mushrooms all over my hands. I'm not going to lick my fingers in front of you. Yes, I did know that you did not like mushrooms, Mama. I did. And that's okay, because if you don't like it, you don't need to eat it. Now I'm just going to set these over here. Okay, this is easy peasy. We are going to add a little bit of salt, a little bit more. We're going to add some TSL Organics chicken seasoning because it is just yummy in here. Now I'm not going to add any pepper to this because the chicken seasoning has enough spice to it that we don't need to add any pepper. Okay, so that is that. Now we are going to add 1 egg. And then we're going to do something a little bit different. Now we need an egg yolk for our hollandaise sauce. So I am going to rescuing the egg yolk. See how I'm using the separator that the egg came with? So the egg white we're putting in here. So it's 1 egg and 1 egg white. Now, if you want to use 2 whole eggs in here, if you're not making hollandaise sauce, that is absolutely fine. If you are making hollandaise sauce, now I'm making a small batch of hollandaise sauce, and that is exactly the way I want it. I usually make smaller batches when I'm hanging out with you guys because I know a lot of people only have 1 or 2 people in their home, or you know, maybe you're a single mom and you have 1 child at home, or you know, whatever it is. Smaller batches are good, especially please listen to me on this. If you're making hollandaise sauce, you want a batch that is as big as you need and not bigger. And the reason for that is because, there we go. The reason for that is because hollandaise sauce really does not reheat well. If you reheat it or try and bring it back from in the fridge, it'll turn into a solid mass because there's butter in it. And if you try to bring that back, you're not going to have a lot of success there. Okay, so now this, we can cook these and save them for later, or we can cook them and use them right now. You can reheat these. I don't know about freezing them. I haven't tried freezing them. That'll have to be a chore for another day. Now, if you are steaming cauliflower, make sure that it's well drained. Let it sit and drain really well. You don't want a lot of moisture in here. You don't want a lot of moisture in the pan. There's going to be enough moisture from the egg whites and the egg yolk that's in here. Okay, so that is as easy as it is. We've got that batter all mixed up now. So we're going to start heating this pan, and I'm going to put it on medium, or on my burner it's a 5. So if you know somebody who is wanting to do keto and always has an excuse, I can't do keto because I can't have Eggs Benedict and I love it, I have it every single Sunday, send them this, or send them my keto bread recipe, and we'll make sure that they know that keto is not about giving up the things that you love. It is about finding new healthy ways to have it. Now this is a brunch dish. Not that it really makes a difference, but I am putting some bacon fat in the pan, and that's going to add extra flavor as well. It's also going to add a little bit of extra fat. Now, we probably don't need quite that much. Okay, so there is that. We'll get that out of our way. And we're going to smush these down. When you get them in the pan, you want to wait until the bacon grease is just starting to smoke. You want this pan nice and hot. You can start it on a higher temperature if you want and turn it down. If you're not using magnetic induction, do not start it on a higher temperature. It takes too long for your pan to cool down, and you'll end up burning something, or it won't have the crispy yumminess that we want. Okay, so now we need another bowl, because we're going to, while we're waiting for this, oh, there we go. Look at that. It doesn't take very long. Now, I'm just going to do 2 or 3. Now, you want these, when you put them in the pan, make them about the same size. So that's 1 spoonful. Make them about the same size as an English muffin would be. And that way, when we put our ham and our egg and our Hollandaise sauce on it, they just sit right on top the way it would with any other Eggs Benedict. Now, I'm not going to promise that my shapes are going to be perfect, but it is what it is. Okay, so we're going to do 3 of these, and I will do the rest later today. Now, if you are needing to stock up on TSL organic spices, you know how to get hold of me, and I'm happy to help make that happen for you. Now, we're just going to set this out of the way. Okay, now, in our bowl, we're adding 1 egg yolk. That's all, just 1, because we're doing a small batch of this. Now, I am going to get my scale out, because I need to measure 56 grams of butter, which I did not do before we started. I melted a whole stick, which is fine. I'm going to need some for later. Anyway, now here's something that shocks me, and it might shock you or might not. My husband also is not a fan of Hollandaise sauce. I'm not really sure how that happened, but is what it is. Okay, so there is 56 grams of butter. It is important that you do not just dump it all in. It's not going to work if you just dump it all in. So we are going to whisk this up. Now just give me 1 second here. Whoops. We are going to make a little bit of noise today, and we're going to do that because I could use just a normal whisk. I'm not going to, but I could. But my shoulder would not like me very much for quite a while if I did that. Okay, now that we're getting ready to do that, I see that these are ready to flip. Now, if you wanted to add a little bit of cheese to these, they're kind of falling apart, and that's okay. Don't worry about that. A wider spatula is going to help make sure that they don't fall apart on you too much. And having this, now, there you go. You can see that I just kind of pulled that one apart a little bit. Yep, that one's going to be falling apart. A little bit of extra egg in here might fix that. I'm not terribly worried about it, because I'm going to be building our Eggs Benedict on top of these, and it's going to be wonderful and delicious. So if it's a little bit falling apart, that's okay. And I know that isn't the same as an English muffin that offers a little bit of resistance, but yeah, resistance is futile. That was pretty cheesy, but I said it. Okay, here we go. We are going to make some Hollandaise sauce. Very first thing we need to do is get this whipped up so that it's nice and light and fluffy. Okay. Now we are just going to start adding our butter in here. Something with a little bit of a lip on it would have made this much better. Now, Hollandaise sauce can be a little bit of a pain in the butt because it will split on you very easily. So this is usually best done. Okay, these are done. This is usually best done right before you eat. And we are not very far away from eating, so I'm going to put these on the plate. Okay, you know what? Sometimes I need 3 hands. Okay, well, that just broke coming out of the pan. Now I'm going to set this down here. See, I have too many things going on at the same time. Now, since this pan is nice and hot, I'm going to show you something that we use for snacks and when we want ham and I don't have time to cook picnic ham. Maple Leaf Naturals. Now, I don't know if you can get this product anywhere other than Canada, but Maple Leaf Natural Selections, their smoked Black Forest ham. That is the only product that they have that I'm aware of that is keto friendly. There is no sugar in it. Okay, let's finish getting this all done. We're going to add just a pinch of salt, and we're going to add a pinch of cayenne pepper. And at the same time, we're going to turn that pan over. This pan, or the ham, the pan is hot enough that it's just going to sear this ham a little bit. Now, the other thing that you absolutely have to have in Hollandaise sauce, it is an absolute must. There's no getting away from this. You need a tablespoon of acid. And the only acid that I would recommend that you use, I'm going to get this over here where you guys can see it. The only acid that I would recommend that you use is either lemon juice or lime juice. Now, if you want to try some kind of vinegar, I guess that's entirely up to you, but I wouldn't recommend it. This is Nellie and Joe's key lime juice, and this makes a beautiful Hollandaise sauce. I really love it. And I ordered this on Amazon. I haven't seen it anywhere local, so thank heavens for online shopping. If you can shop local, please do. But if you can't, that's okay too. Okay, now you can see that as soon as we add that lime juice, this is just thickening up and becoming beautiful and lovely and okay. And there you go. It is just that easy. Yep, that is wonderful. Good morning, Tammy. I'm glad you could be here. Okay, so, you know, I only know one person in this entire world that doesn't lick the beater when it's done. But you know what? It is what it is. Everybody has their preferences. Now, something that I've had a couple of people ask me about because I haven't made reference to it, and so I'm going to make reference to it. Now, you guys know, if you listen to me, you know that I don't get involved in anything political, and I don't because I don't think my opinion matters as far as this show goes. I do, however, strongly believe that everyone's opinion matters. So I just want to give a shout out to all of the truckers in the Freedom Convoy that has gone to Ottawa. I was so impressed yesterday listening to the news broadcast that there was no violence, there was no bad behavior, or not much, not enough that it actually made the news. So I was very grateful for that. It is important that you stand up for what you believe. It is also equally as important that you stand up for everyone's right to have their own opinions. And I absolutely believe that whether vaccines work or don't work, or they're good or they're bad, wherever you are on that scale, you have a right to be there. And never ever in the history of our country has it ever been mandated that in order to go to your job and do your job that you have to undergo any kind of medical anything. So I think it's wonderful that they are standing up for themselves and standing up for the rest of Canada. And I did not get silverware for us to try this. So do you guys want to try this with me? Now I am going to move one of these over onto here. I'm going to use the broken one up here. So you're going to put that on the bottom. There you go. You're going to put that on the bottom, and on top of that, we're going to add our ham. And on top of that, we are going to add a poached egg. Now, I broke the top of this poached egg, but it is still going to taste delicious and wonderful. You guys would love it. I wish you were here, honestly. Okay, now, the only thing left to do is to put a spoonful of our beautiful Hollandaise sauce, which has already started setting up. It happens that fast, you guys. You can set it over a bowl of warm water to keep it from setting up. I'm not really too concerned whether it sets up or not, because it's going to be delicious one way or the other. And it's just me here today, so I'm sorry that we got yakking about other stuff that really has nothing much to do with keto. But, okay, so that did not pour over it the way I would have liked, but there is a very keto version of Eggs Benedict. And if I had been a little more on the ball, that Hollandaise sauce would have poured on here just beautifully, and it would have made a really beautiful plate. So, should we take a taste test and see how this turned out? Okay, I need to get a mouth-size bite, and nobody is allowed to say anything about how big my mouth is or isn't. Thank you very much. Well, I guess you can. It's not like I can stop you. But, okay, here we go. Eggs Benedict. Oh my goodness. I just cannot seem to get this bite up to my mouth. What is stuck here? Good grief. Okay, here we go. Let's try this again. That is awesome. That is so good. Now, as much as what we are using in place of the English muffin has more of an umami flavor, it works so well with the egg and the tang from the Hollandaise sauce. Now, if you're going to a restaurant and they have Eggs Benedict on the menu, please know that the Hollandaise sauce that they use is probably coming out of a jar or a bag. Not a great keto choice. There's going to be mystery ingredients in there. If you can reheat Hollandaise sauce, it's not good Hollandaise sauce, and it's not good for you. Pardon me. Have to swallow it. You can't inhale it. I'm on a roll this morning. Oh, and did you bring a cup of coffee with you this morning? I have eggnog, sugar-free Da Vinci eggnog syrup in my coffee. Now, this particular one, I'm always telling you guys about different sugar-free Da Vinci syrups. This one does need a little bit of milk or cream in it, so I use macadamia nut milk. Do not use cow's milk. Cow's milk is one of those things that we've always been told is good for us, and it truly is not. And, you know, for a long time we were told use skim milk instead of whole milk because low fat is better. Not true. The lactose in milk, which is what causes lactose intolerance, go figure. Lactose is milk sugar. So the more lactose there is in milk, the more sugar you're getting, the more carbs you're getting. So you want to stay away from milk. Cream, on the other hand, if you're using whipping cream, hardly anything in there for carbs. And if you're using macadamia nut milk or coconut milk or almond milk, very little in there for carbs, especially when you're only using a tablespoon or two in your coffee. So, in my opinion, Da Vinci eggnog sugar-free syrup is absolutely wonderful as long as you add some milk. Okay. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here for brunch. And you can see, looking at this bowl, that I maybe should have had it sitting over a bowl of warm water. But you know what? It's okay. And if you have a little bit of Hollandaise sauce left over, bring it out of your fridge half an hour or so before you're going to eat. Bring it back up to room temperature, and you can spread it like butter. That's about all I've got for you today. It was a little bit of a higgledy-piggledy all over the place, but I'm very grateful that you were here with me, and I hope you do your very best to live your best version of this shining life. That's what I'm going to try and do. And now I get to figure out exactly what it is I'm going to make for supper because my husband is coming home unexpectedly today. So keep things like that in mind when you're thinking about what you're going to do that's keto. What can you do in case you have someone show up for a meal unexpectedly? Something quick and easy. One of the best ways to be able to navigate that, in my opinion, is to make sure that you always have a dozen eggs boiled or steamed and in your fridge. Gives you lots of keto options if you have someone show up unexpectedly. Have an amazing Sunday. I look forward to seeing you here Wednesday morning, 10 a.m. Mountain. I will be here. I hope you are too. If you're having trouble seeing me on Facebook, please hop over to YouTube. Look for This Shining Life. That's who I am everywhere, and I look forward to seeing you on Twitch, on Facebook, on YouTube, wherever you find me. I'm happy to see you there. So have an amazing Sunday. Do your best. Be kind to someone. Support a trucker. I may not be driving anymore, but I still am one. So I'm really grateful for everything that they are doing for all of our freedoms. As a democratic society, you need to make your voice heard, but you need to do it in a polite and diplomatic way. Anger isn't going to get you anywhere. So have an amazing day and